All right, internet. Probably should give you a little bit more of a delay because I've got the little title that comes in and it goes, it does a little sparkly stuff. Sparkly stuff. FocusWorks, precision spinning tops, and EDC. So if you guys don't know, FocusWorks, I kind of want to swear, maybe give a little swear warning because I really think it warrants it. Look at that. We got to give a shout out to Jordy. I'm going to swear, so cover your kids' ears, for unfuckifying Last Room Standing. Last Room Standing, I don't know what's going on. I hate to say, some of the bad things I did, but Alex and Ben, whatever they had going on over there, they just completely ran that thing into the ground. So Jordy came in, swooped up. I don't know enough about what happened over there. And even if I did, I don't know if I'd want to get into it too much to really get into the politics of it, but Jordy, I believe, was their machinist anyway, was manufacturing these. I don't know how he was able to buy the company and the name off of them and then get these out to people that had pre-ordered them and still made any money, or what's going on. I don't know how that actually worked. But he, here's the spinner that I didn't think I would ever get. So here it is, the Axis Micro in copper with tungsten weights. And let me tell you, it's nice. Now, with this, starting with this run, I think any of the outstanding titanium orders were going to be still the 608s, but these are getting the R188 treatment. So this is kind of cool too. I love the fat. Look at this. Nice, solid little brass thing, and just fits right in there snug and just... Now, I almost wish, especially when tightening this down, I had a little bit more grip, or maybe this swelled, since he uses a piece this big, put almost this sort of a same square shape or little tab so I can get some leverage. But it still gives plenty of leverage. That's just being really nitpicky. But yeah, look at that. It works super, super well, and it's very satisfying, actually. And then boom, we get in there. We get the bearing in, we get the bearing out. Now, I haven't spun this too much. I've had this a couple days. Haven't spun it too much, so we haven't really worked in a patina or anything. So this is definitely going to be a first look, but I did have that titanium, I think it was titanium with stainless steel weights that I got lent from Jomo. So right off the bat, there's a couple negatives I just want to get out of the way when we look at this. First negative is it actually, at first glance, looked pretty cool. And still looks cool, but these machining marks along the top just kind of look a little raw and unfinished. They kind of look kind of almost dirty when you look at it like that. Not dirty as in dirty, but just kind of not a very clean finishing. And then we've got a very similar thing on the finish on this side. But what it actually does is when you're spinning it, it's almost like, the machining, the machine finish you get on some spinners, like on a Portal, where you get this kind of cool little pattern that reflects when you spin it. The light's not really doing it here, but it almost looks kind of prismatic. Are we getting it there a little bit? I'm seeing it more in person, but you're kind of seeing a little bit there. So yeah, Axis Micro. The other really big negative that's actually easy to solve, but still really big, this is something that I think, I have so much praise for you, Jordy, for sorting out what you did, but this has got to be fixed. In the middle of the button, you can't see it now. I was going to try to leave it for the review, but I couldn't keep it there. There was a tiny little, basically, spike in the middle of this. Almost if you look at... Well, the average Singaporean's going to love me mentioning this because this was one of his pieces of feedback for Fabian on the talisman. Almost like a little spike, sort of like that, but smaller and sharper. So when I actually felt it, I thought it was the edges of these buttons, sort of like the Damn Designs buttons, where the edges were just machined very sharp. But they're not. They're actually very smooth, but I just kept getting this little thing biting me, and there was this little piece of copper just standing straight up in there. And if you look, you'll see this scratch in the button, and it was on both sides, the scratch in that button. So what I did was I just took the side of this Allen wrench, the flat side, and I just kind of put it on here just like this, and I just pushed that spike right off because it's very small, but it's just that can't be there on a finished product. With the kind of quality people are expecting from this for $180, that's something that can't be there. Everything else, this right here, I would expect to be finished a little bit better as well, but it actually does kind of a cool effect, so it's not actually too terrible, and we'll see what happens when it patinas. Some of the concerns, when average Singaporean got his, and I wanted to be kind of especially mindful of it on this one, because that other one, that I had. I didn't get it out of the box, so I couldn't really comment on exactly how it was finished. But this, along these edges here, he had some concerns where like there were some dings and nicks and stuff like that in it. But on this one, it's been machined with a slight flat surface on the top. So it didn't really have any of that. I may have put a couple nicks in one of them. Right, yeah, maybe this one. I'm not sure if these were in it when I got it. But other than that, it was in really good shape. Buttons feel really good. They're not magnetized, which I love. R188, so, you know, I almost think like having the 608 option would have been nice, but maximum fidgetability on this. Now this actually has some pretty good weight. I don't think I weighed it yet, but we're talking copper with tungsten weight, so it's not going to be super heavy, right? We're not going to be in like the hundreds and hundreds of grams, but you know, we're at 90 grams for a, you know, it's not a giant spinner by any means. You know, it's like stubby sized, right? So good. But yeah, having that extra density weights, and those balls are super, those tungsten weights are super polished, super shiny. Love how that looks. Is nice. Now the Axis Micro has this really excellent spin profile, spin pattern. You almost get like these steps because what you're getting is you're getting, so see where the light's reflecting right here? So I'm seeing that, and then I'm seeing the light reflecting off the balls, and then I don't see that, and then I get the reflection from this side on the inside. So here, the reflection is on the outside, away from the buttons. Here it's near the buttons. So let's look at that again when we look at this spin profile. So we get these cool little, like almost like stacked circles. So right here it looks nice and flat, right? But when you start getting like that, it looks like a very thick spinner. It's very interesting how those play with the light when you move it. See that? And what you're seeing in camera is what I'm seeing in person. Like that's what it looks like. It's really cool. It really messes with you. It's kind of an optical illusion, right? When you go from here to how thick it looks to kind of putting it all on one plane there. It's rad. A lot of times spinners, you know, they have surfaces, and then when you spin it, it makes it look flat. This is the opposite. It's pretty flat, all things considered, and then when you start turning it, it really gets some depth and dynamicism. You know what I realized? I didn't do a spin time on this. I should say the bearing that comes with it is pretty neat. So it's one of those ones that looks like that half cage that you see with the high velocity and the stealth bearings. Also on a new... probably new bearing from Heck Ferula. Flavor Zone Essentials has gonna have a bearing sort of like this. But it's using the, instead of the silicon nitride, the zirconium oxide balls. So I haven't really seen that with the white balls in there. So, you know, those are ceramic. So it just had a little bit of a knock in there, and it probably just needs to clean. It almost feels like when I'm spinning it now, like it's got a light lube in it, which it may very well be the case, but you know me, I like a little bit of feedback. So, but I did just put a Fidget HQ one in here. On this one in this case. I believe that is a Fidget HQ, right? SB, yeah. So this is the HC3 that Heck sent me to kind of like beta test. These are designed to have super tight tolerances, so they're pretty smooth. They're not quite one drop smooth. They're probably in the smoothness range of the SBV2s, but they've got a feel to them that is very sort of, still feels like a hybrid ceramic. It's hard to explain unless you've really, again, like I said, spin a lot of spinners, but it's got that sort of feel to it, yet it has super tight tolerances. Like there's not a lot of up and down play, much like a one drop. I know a lot of people like those one drops for the smoothness, but I also know like Rommel, for example, loves his one drops. Oh, Rommel, copper, see? Oh my goodness, how did I get this far without saying copper, see? Yeah, see, you'll never catch me, copper. What you will catch me with, copper, see, is an HC3, see? High, very tight tolerances, see? Doesn't fare very loose at all, see? I think that's what I might have in here right now. Not a ton of up and down plays, so it kind of dampens that judder you get with a bar spinner. Anyway, we're not talking about the HC3. I actually want to do a video kind of going over the Heck Ferula line here. I was hoping to do that a little bit later today, but we're going to run out of nap time, so maybe I can get it tomorrow so I don't have to wait until next weekend. But yeah, ultra fidgetable. I mean, there's a reason why these spinners were so high in demand, and they're still the same spinner. It hasn't really lost that quality or anything, you know, despite everything that happened. So for me, I think the biggest thing we can do is we can give a shout out to old Pluke Jones. We can give a shout out to Ryan Holyoke. We can give a shout out to Jordy for unfuckifying Last Room Standing. Now we've got some spinners, something that looks like a company that we can rely on. He's had great communication and, you know, got the spinner out to me, got the spinner out to a lot of other people. Again, got to fix that issue with the button. That's got to be fixed. That's can't happen. It's an easy enough fix, but now I've got a scratch in the middle of my button, which I don't really care about too much, but I know other people will. So we got to be fair with that. Now, for all the weight and everything that's happened in the spinner game and the spinner scene, $180 for this. still feels kind of close to right, but it's still pretty expensive. So I think when it comes to recommendations, it's got to be like a 1.5, because it is like, it's the Axis Micro, right? Like Grail spinner status for sure. But you know, like the swoops on the inside of the arm make it so easy to flick, so easy to pull. The surface here, like, it looks fantastic, but it also, these aren't very sharp. I can feel that a little bit, so I'm not really going to get any sort of like hot spot, because I can't bite my finger in there because of the tungsten ball, the tungsten weight. So if I push my finger here and I kind of pull off, it might feel like it could be a little sharp, but I can't really do that in spinning it, because the ball is going to prevent my finger from really rocking in there. Throws really well, and again, I started to say I didn't do a spin time on this. I'm not gonna worry about putting a spin time up on this. Who knows what kind of spin time we get, but this is much more of a fidgetable spinner, so we're not too worried about spin time. We've got some good weight distribution with that tungsten on the outside, so I think with the right bearing, you know, I might get close to 10 minutes on a table spin if I got the good bearing in there, really broken in, gave it a good spin. But I would expect closer to probably 8 with a really good bearing. You know, maybe 10 minutes on a vertical spin, maybe. How's it balance on this? I think it was pretty good. Yeah, this is pretty good balance. Well done, Jordy. Well done. So they deserve our support. But it doesn't feel, it feels dead smooth, which is really the best balance test. Like, you know, someone mentioned, and I was mentioning it on, we're going to bring this back out for a minute, on this, and like how he said they would all be perfectly balanced. Right, and it's certainly not perfectly balanced. But when I spin it, if I let go, I can feel that wobble a little bit, but when I'm holding it, it feels dead smooth. And that's your best balance test. If you can spin it, you can't feel that wobble or anything like that, then you know you're in good shape. So we are in good shape with this here. So flicking on this, like, it is a power, or a pusher. That's a power pusher. Rock it back. Your finger always lands in the middle. You can go out here if you want to, but it's really about the preloaded flick. It's really about the power push. Really good gyroscope. Oh yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to mention. The gyroscopic effect on this, because tungsten weights and the way the weight's distributed, right? You've got your copper that's really kind of cut down, maximizing the tungsten here. Oop, and we just bashed our camera, but like the gyroscopic effect on this is for real. But again, very well balanced. Almost dropped it, but that was more because of me just being silly. Buttons offer a lot of grip. Yeah, nothing really, not a huge negative to say from like a spinning, like fidgeting perspective. Like, not really a hot spot issue. Good with just about any way you want to fidget with it. Good weight distribution, feels solid. With that minor fix to the buttons feel good. Excellent bearing removal tool option. You know, with something like this and the way he's machining it, I actually probably would prefer a press fit style, or again, you know, 608 with a core in there, sort of like what was happening before. But it's still all good. So can we recommend it? You know, I still want to say, like, part of me wants to give it two thumbs up, because I want to encourage the type of, you know, basically community service those guys are doing over there. But from a spinner perspective, you know, 180 is a little bit. So I'm thinking, you know, a thumb and a half. Not quite 2 thumbs up. But from like a community service perspective and wanting to support those guys, 2 thumbs up all the way. So, and I'm sorry about any bad things I said to anybody. I realized especially the admins were put in kind of an awkward spot, especially Ryan, probably back in the day with those guys, having to try to defend them. So, you know, he kind of did what he had to do. So, and I've never had a bad experience with him. I know I've kind of apologized to him for what I said in my last review, but yeah, that's it. I don't think we got anything else to say. Let's bring it in one more time. Get some up close. Look at that. Looks good. All right, internet. Love you. Kisses.